Let's continue that conversation with our political panel this hour. Republican strategist Matt Klink and Democratic strategist Madeline Somerville. Thank you both for joining us. Matt, we'll begin with you. Secretary Noem vowing to ramp up deportations, giving more funding from Trump's megabill that's now the law of the land. But we're seeing, of course, a wave of large-scale protests and clashes with ICE nationwide, of course, most recently in Southern California and Los Angeles. So how can Republicans actually work alongside these migrant communities to get to a better solution, one that's agreeable, at least in part, to all parties?
Well, Alex, thank you for having me. It's pretty tough to work alongside the migrant communities when the Democratic Party writ large is more interested in protecting people who are in this country illegally than they are fighting for American citizens. So, look, you nailed it when you said that Kristi Noem has billions of dollars now at her disposal. The Republican Party under Donald Trump is going to ramp up deportations of people who are in this country illegally, and they're going to be much more aggressive about it. And look, the crocodile tears for the Democrats who said nothing literally for the Biden and the Obama administrations who did put people in cages sleeping on concrete. So the crocodile tears of the Democrats plus the immigration community that is funded largely through federal government grants, who realize that their gravy train's drying up, don't take too much to heart. Trump is going to move this quickly, and it's going to be done effectively and humanely.
Madeline, it sounds as if Matt is calling Democrats hypocrites given what they saw on the border just a few years ago. Do you have a response to that, and whether or not this is just the same thing being done on their side?
I think the Democrats could make some real inroads by admitting, you know what, you're right. Obama and Biden took actions that we don't stand behind, because actually what we should do is point out the hypocrisy on Donald Trump's part, because he said he was for the working man, for the people, that he wasn't conducting any backroom deals. But the people who are going to benefit most from these projects is one of his major donors, which is a private prison system. And as your previous guest said, they're going to earn $400 million of taxpayer money off of it. But what I think they really need to do, what Democrats really need to do, is remind people, because the worst problem is exactly what Matt said, which is that Republicans think that Democrats would rather protect people who aren't American citizens than Americans themselves. We have to undo that. We have to undo the trope that keeps getting repeated. That has to be the goal. And how you can do that is by reminding them of the principles that they stand for as Americans, and that we can all stand for as Americans together.
Look, we just showed video of President Trump and Secretary Noem touring that Alligator Alcatraz, but also Democrats have been doing that as well. And one congresswoman even had some claims about the conditions inside. Let's take a listen. I'll get your opinion on the other side.
The conditions that we saw inside this internment camp, which it is nothing less than that description, were really appalling. These detainees are living in cages. The pictures that you've seen don't do it justice. There are 3 tiny toilets that are toilet units that have a sink attached to it. It was 83 degrees. That was without being all the way in with all of the bodies.
Of course, as Mills Hayes was reporting just moments ago, Republicans are praising it, saying none of that is true. So, Matt, let me just ask you, in terms of the overall way that this is being viewed, Alligator Alcatraz, the majority of Americans are now saying that they oppose this facility and facilities like it. I wonder, just from a strategic point, if Secretary Noem is making a mistake by proposing actually building more facilities like this.
Yeah, Alex, the only thing that Debbie Wasserman Schultz didn't do was shed some crocodile tears on that. Look, you can put up all the polling that you want, but the overwhelming majority of Americans say that they want to deport people that are in this country illegally. Donald Trump was elected on that in November of 2024, and he's moving on it. He's already solidified the border. He's got tens of billions of dollars through one big, beautiful bill to move this thing forward much more aggressively. And look, that in spite of the government-funded immigration allies and the Democratic Party working in cahoots because they rely on this illegal migrant labor to keep costs down, they're going to push against this aggressively. Donald Trump is not deterred, and he's going to move forward with due haste and make it happen.
Madeline, we're going to give you the final word here. What do you think is something that Secretary Noem, President Trump, and the whole administration can be doing to win over the Democrats and find a compromise, so to speak?
Well, I think, as you said, it's more than just the Democrats, because 78% of Americans do not want immigration to be handled this way. I agree that Democrats and Republicans alike want people who are violent criminals to be deported, but 78% support a path to citizenship. And so what the Democrats need to do in order to bring people around is to remind them that they don't want to be on the wrong side of history. I think that that's really what's going on here, because when Debbie Wasserman Schultz comes out and says things like internment camps, people's ears perk up. Right. And that's the point. But the thing is, the people who she actually needs to convince, the people that are on the other side, they shut down. So what you need to remind them of, if that's what it really is, if it really is an internment camp and this is what we're doing, you need to remind them of who they are, what they care about, because Donald Trump's weak right now, right? People are upset at him about Epstein. They feel betrayed over his actions with Pam Bondi.
Right.
He hit him while he's weak, and call attention to the hypocrisies and remind them of who they are as people.
Look, I know Matt is itching to respond, but we unfortunately got to leave it there. Our big thanks to our political panel. You guys are both great, and I appreciate the very thoughtful and intelligent conversation we just had.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Much.
You bet.